What's up, cool cats and kittens nation? Your fearless leader, Uncle Mad here today. Really excited about what we got in store for today's video because we're going to do something that I have never done before. We're going to build a Lego model. Now you might say, that sounds crazy, Matt. How could you have never built a Lego model before? I just haven't. It just wasn't my thing as a kid. I think I had a few, but I just never did them or started them and never finished them. But my wife bought for me a Lego model of Old Trafford, the stadium that Manchester United plays their soccer games in, and as they are my favorite team in the world, this is the perfect Lego thing for me to actually build. So I've kind of been putting off doing this. She bought this for me quite a while ago, but no time like the present. So today we're gonna whip out some Legos and we're gonna make a project. Should be cool. I'm very excited. Although, being as that I've never successfully completed a Lego project, there is a very good possibility this video ends with me chucking the Legos into the wall and cussing. So I'm gonna have the bleep button ready. Make sure your children have earmuffs ready in the event that happens. But let's get started. All right, so we've got all our pieces laid out, ready to get rocking and rolling. Here's the instruction book. Don't know that I'll need it. I think I can just wing it, but this is what it's supposed to look like when I finish. And we've got this little mini, where's the lens? Here he is. This is Matt Jr., Manchester United fan. Now he's rocking a hairstyle that I probably haven't been able to successfully pull off since the mid-2000s, but I still believe this is me in Lego form. Hey everybody, I'm Lego Matt. Glory, glory, Man United. I'm gonna cut that part, that was stupid. Note to self, edit out dumb Lego Matt voice. Let's rock and roll. So I thought while I was working on this would be a good time to talk about what's just going on in the real world of sports. I'm building a fake sports stadium, so talk about real sports a little bit. Obviously, right now, if you're watching this in the present, not some point in the future, sports are kind of on hold right now. They've kind of been shut down for the time being, but it slowly but surely looks like we are getting close to coming back. First one up that looks like it's going to come back, and I'm not surprised by this because they were doing everything they could to not shut down, is UFC. They currently are planning on having their next event on May 9th. Now it seems like they're starting to get some leniency in Vegas to be able to come back and run some empty arena type shows there. They've got a pretty stacked lineup for that May 9th show, so if they're able to put that together and pull that off, that should be something fun to watch to kind of get us back into the world of sports. I'm kind of looking forward to that. But Dana White said they're going to hit all their 42 scheduled events, even making up for the ones that they've been missing the past month or so when they had to kind of stop. They came really close to running a show April 18th. It ultimately got called off because the governor of California personally contacted the heads of Disney, who own ESPN, who is UFC's broadcast partner, and asked them to not run that show. They were going to run it on like a Native American casino, which would have been outside of government's control. They wouldn't have been able to shut them down the way they can at normal locations, but that got pushed down and stopped, probably for the best. That was a little bit too early to be trying to do stuff like that. Coming up here in May and June, it feels like we're starting to get into a safer range for sports and things like that to come back if they're done the right way. UFC, it's two guys in a cage and a referee, but they are kind of right on top of each other. But, if there's testing, if there's appropriate steps, make sure that everybody who's involved is healthy. I think it can work, so kind of looking forward to that. But the other interesting thing UFC is planning is Fight Island. Dana White has apparently acquired a private island where international fighters who might not be able to get into the US for fights are going to go to have fights. Just as a concept, that sounds insane. And because it sounds so insane, it sounds amazing. And I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how that works out, because that just seems like something out of a movie or something. So UFC coming back, Fight Island, real fights in Vegas potentially. It's going to be very interesting to see. Even more so interesting that they are kind of following suit. WWE was declared a essential business in Florida, so they've been able to continue with their taping schedule. They're doing some live shows, some tape shows. It's a little bit weird, that one, but don't want to get into that too much. But yeah, UFC coming back, WWE coming back, or WWE's never stopped, actually. That's what's kind of crazy about it. Not really sport, but, you know, it's an athletic sort of thing. You got to be an athlete to be able to do it. It's going to be interesting. Fight Island in particular. I'm particularly looking forward to see what Fight Island is all about. So outside of the fighting sports, it seems like the next competition to come back would be golf. They've set mid-June as the first tournament they're going to run. That one seems to be the safest bet to me, just because golf seems to be the one where the easiest distance can be kept between competitors and people. Obviously, they're talking about running it without fans. Pretty much everything is being discussed with running without fans for the time being, which makes total sense because you can't just pack thousands of people into any place right now. But golf makes sense. I mean, half the golf courses in town haven't even closed down, so if golf courses can remain open, logically, since pro golf should be able to be played, so that should be coming back soon. Interesting. Shame we missed the Masters, but it's been rescheduled for November, so that'll be interesting to have like a Thanksgiving Masters. Two sports that might come back soon with the same path kind of back that I see for each would be NBA and NHL. Both were basically just about to start their playoffs when everything kind of stopped. So, you know, I think it would be reasonable for them to just skip whatever 7, 8, 9 games were left in the regular season and go straight into a playoff. And there's been discussion that it might be handled in a manner where they might choose what they've called a bubble site, like a specific location where the teams involved in the tournament would all go. They'd play in one spot. They'd all be sequestered in hotels in that one spot. That way, you know, they're safe. They're not traveling from town to town to town to town to town, potentially spreading anything. It's just all in one spot. It's contained. It's quarantined. And there's been interesting discussions about where there might be. The NBA in particular, it's been brought up in recent days. This will be a little tie-in for the Disney viewers out there, that Walt Disney World might be an ideal place for the NBA to see out a postseason tournament at, because you've got the wide world of sports right there. Perfect, you know, gym. You don't need a big, huge arena because you're not going to have any fans there. So a nice facility like that, It's perfect for the games to be played in. And then if the resort itself is remaining closed or only being used in a partial capacity, you've got all the Walt Disney World Resort hotels there available for the players to be put in. So it's kind of a win-win. It gives Disney kind of a test run to start kind of running things back up. They can get some of their staff back to work, because there will be people who need to run the hotels or run the facility, the Wide World of Sports, if they're going to do that there. I don't think anything concrete has been put in place about that. This was suggested by a Yahoo Sports media writer, I believe. However, Bob Iger was invited to sit in on a conference call with NBA owners and the NBA commissioner last week. So I don't know if this was broached, if this was a topic, or, Bob Iger is a person just in general that a lot of people are going to right now for advice, because as CEO of Walt Disney, he's run one of, if not the largest companies in America for the last, 15 years or however long it's been for him. So as a business leader, a lot of people are looking to him for advice right now. He's on California's committee to reopen the state, or whatever you want to call it. So it could be, maybe they're talking about Disney being involved somehow in the NBA coming back. It could be just looking for him for business advice. It could just be, as head of Disney, he's also head of ESPN, which is NBA's main broadcast partner. But, it's an interesting idea. In hockey, you could do something similar to basketball. Find a site that has an arena that meets their needs, that has hotel space where the players can all be. One of the other locations, bubble sites that have been discussed by some people in the media, has been Las Vegas. Similar to Disney, it's got the facilities that could be used for the games, and it's got a lot of empty hotel rooms right now. So it's kind of much the way that Disney would be. It's kind of a win-win. You can get people back to work and operating the facilities needed to run those events. And it's also kind of a test for the bigger kind of rollout of reopening Vegas, reopening the casinos, reopening Disney, reopening the parks. So we can get NBA, we can get the NHL back, and also they can help facilitate the opening of other entertainment entities that we all kind of want to see reopen. So that's an interesting idea to me. All this is speculative at this point. There's nothing concrete about anything coming back, but the ideas are interesting, if nothing else. So those are ones to keep an eye on as we kind of move into the next couple weeks or so. Stadium, I would be remiss if I didn't at least discuss what could be happening with soccer, what could be to come for the world of soccer. Soccer is a very interesting one because it's played all over the world, so it's globally got to be figured out how it can come back, when it can come back, and that's going to be location by location. They'll have to figure that out. And it's interesting as well because, here in America, our league, the MLS, had basically just started its season. We played 2 games, Nashville SC, our new hometown team, 2 games in the books, and then everything kind of got taken down briefly. On the other hand, European soccer, where Manchester United plays, they were towards the end of the season. There was really probably only about a little bit over a month left in the season over there. So MLS, I think, is in a little better position because they can hold off. They might not end up playing as many games as they were scheduled to play in the season, but they can still come back and have a pretty reasonably complete season, whereas, we're running out of time for European soccer to come back because the next European season would theoretically begin in August, so are we going to make these players come back, play out whatever's left of this season, and then they basically immediately restart the next season? It's interesting, but one of the things that complicates European soccer, NBA, NHL, they could cancel the season. They could just say, it's not going to happen, it's not going to work. We missed the playoffs, there's no champion this year, kind of like what happened with college basketball. It's a little bit more complicated with European soccer because over there they've got promotion and relegation. They've got, where there's tiers. So teams that are successful in the lower league get to go to the bigger league. The teams that are failures in the bigger league get dropped down to the lower league. Is it fair to teams that were on the verge of getting to go get promotion to the big league to tell them, well, the season's voided, you don't get anything now? Is it fair to teams that were going to get relegated to say, oh, you're saved, you don't have to worry about it, you go back down? I mean, that's a huge financial deal because you get a lot more money if you're playing in the bigger league than if you're playing in the lower league. You've also got, qualification for the European Championships. Do teams get in based on where they finish the season? Do they get in based on where, did I mess this up? Do they get in based on last season's finish? That there's a lot more complicated questions when it comes to European soccer right now. So it will definitely be interesting to see what answers, what solutions they can come up with there. The latest reports from over there are that players are being told to be prepared to return to practice around the end of May for the season to possibly restart in June. MLS has said something similar right now. They've officially listed their return to play date as early June, but that's all tentative. Obviously everything changes every week, so that's what they're saying right now. It could be completely different in a couple weeks, but it's just the whole situation's just ever evolving, it's ever changing. MLB's one, they've kind of been looking at some possibilities to get their season started, similar to what we talked about with the NBA and NHL, where they might basically do what they do for spring training, just have everything condensed into one location, either Arizona or Florida, something like that, and just get the season started in that regard. And then when things start to calm down, start to go back to normal, shift back into more of a regular season. It's interesting, it's going to be very interesting to see how all these things play out as time continues to pass. But one sporting event we do have coming up that we know of that's going to be highly interesting and I can't wait for is the NFL draft coming up on Thursday. This video should go up before the draft, so you should be able to see the draft on Thursday if you're watching this the day it goes live. So that's going to be very interesting because they're doing a virtual draft where, I don't know, it's like Zoom meetings or online. It's going to be amazing because there's just no way that one of these old general managers, coaches who don't understand technology doesn't screw something up, draft the wrong player, trade a pick they didn't mean to trade. Something weird's going to happen. It has to. So that's going to be very interesting to see that. So I've got that on my radar, the NFL draft coming up. That one's going to be, it's the closest thing we got to real sports coming up in the next couple weeks. So it's going to be fun. So there you have it. We have completed our Old Trafford Lego model. Now I just have to find a cool place to display it. It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. I do believe there was a couple pieces missing, or I messed something up somewhere along the way. That's probably more likely, but it turned out pretty good. Little Matt's really happy with it. I don't know that this is going to lead to me becoming a Lego master, particularly because Legos are fairly expensive. There's actually a actual official Lego Old Trafford you can get, and it costs $350. So don't know that I'm going to be expanding my Lego horizons, but this was fun. As you can see, it looks just like Old Trafford, the real deal. Perfect replica. Pretty happy with myself, pretty proud of how that went. Turned out very, very good. That's all we got today. We built a Lego thing, talked about sports. Overall, I think it was a good day. I'm going to leave you with the words that I once heard Sting say at the field in a farm at Manchester. Sting of Police fame, that is, not Sting, the WCW wrestler. Although Sting, the WCW wrestler, may have also said this at the farm down in Manchester. Who's to say? Don't stand so close to me. Glory, glory, Man United.